Hey everybody, Sunny here. Before we get to the show, I just remind you all where you can listen to my podcast, CasaLoud Chats. I'm on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more streaming platforms. I'm even on YouTube. With YouTube, just search for CasaLoud Chats and every episode of my show is up there on YouTube. And now, on with the show. Everybody, and welcome to CasaLoud Chats, a podcast dedicated to Nickelodeon's The Casagrandes and the Loud House universe. And I'm your host, Sunny, and welcome to episode 32 of CasaLoud Chats. And today's a very exciting day that I'm posting this. Is Monday the 7th, September 7th, is my 1 year anniversary of this podcast. Like, wow, I can't believe that I've been doing this show for a year now. But yes, it's now officially my 1 year anniversary of starting the show on September 7th. I didn't know when my anniversary was coming up. I just knew it was coming very soon. But then I looked on Anchor to see which episode I posted first, and it was on September 7th, my first episode ever. And I did actually listen to my first episode, and I was like very nervous and scared, and I sounded really bad with the quality and stuff. I'm not sure if I had this microphone as I did a while back, or maybe I didn't know the right settings for my microphone. But boy, I sounded very, very quiet and very scared because it was my first episode, so I didn't know how people were going to respond to me doing a podcast at first. And of course, my podcast at first was dedicated to only the Casagrandes because I just wanted to do a show just for them. But then once I started branching out and I started expanding the show, then I just decided, well, the Loud House and the Casagrandes are both premiering at the exact same time. I need to branch out and actually talk about both shows, but I was still going under the name CasaGrande Chats. So eventually I rebranded to CasaLoud Chats. And I guess it is kind of like confusing to some people because there's Loud Casa Talks and CasaLoud Chill Out Sessions. So there's 3 of us in the game now. Like when I was first starting out, I was the only one, but then all of a sudden there started to be 2 more, and that's been awesome though, because like we all gotta support each other doing podcasts for the show, because the shows deserve attention like that. So I didn't know how I was gonna go about doing a podcast on my own because I never thought I could do one. But then when I decided, hey, well, I really like doing this podcast thing, and people really responded to it well, and I've had so many guests on for certain things and certain episodes that I've been really happy to expand on the show and do a lot of things with the show and, develop it into what it is now with CasaLoud Chats. And going forward with the shows, especially with the Loud House Season 5 and the Casagrandes with the last episode of Season 1 and Season 2, we are going to keep going with the show. Nothing's going to stop me until, the shows are over, whenever they stop, or they don't have new episodes, or whatever happens to the Loud House and the Casagrandes. But as of right now, I'm still going, so that's very exciting. So I want to say thank you to all my fans and everybody out there who's listened to my podcast from the beginning, or if you're just a new fan, just checking out the show. I appreciate you checking out the show. This is your first time listening to my podcast about the Loud House and the Casagrandes. Thank you for supporting my show, and thank you all for the wonderful support throughout this entire year that I've had the show. And I never thought I would keep going with the podcast, but here I am. I've been doing it, and I've been trying to do new things with it and expand on it, and then of course having guests from the fandom come on and talk about the shows when they have new episodes and stuff. So again, thank you all for being supportive of my show and coming onto the show when you want to come on as a guest. I always love having people on now because of course I don't have another host, it's just me. So I always like having another perspective on, so I really appreciate everybody who's come onto the show and want to come back on again or want to be a new guest. So yes, thank you all for the support. And with this 1 year anniversary show, we're going to talk about a lot of exciting things. It's going to be a Casa-Minisode again, but it is talking about all the exciting news that came out for the Loud House and the Casagrandes, because we had updated descriptions for the Casagrande episodes that I talked about last time, and new descriptions for brand new episodes of the Loud House after school. So there's going to be a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. So with that said, let's get into some Casa news.
This is it, middle school, and we'll make this day look easy.
We're not lit, we're not cool,
Take a deep breath and get a grip. Our strategy is tight, our game is strong. We got this, we'll get through it all together. We got this, trust me, we'll be fine. Trust me, we'll be fine.
So the first news item for this week is that this week there's going to be the Loud House Season 5 premiere of Schooled! We are finally getting to the season premiere of Season 5 of the Loud House with the 1 hour special, Schooled. And of course we have a lot of news and a lot of new information about the Schooled special. So let's talk about some of the things we found out about the special. So first off, we actually got 2 new promos for the Schooled special. The fourth one that actually is pretty short. There's not a lot of the fourth one, just a small clip of Lincoln actually going to the principal's office, I think, and that's where they're going to tell them that he's going to be going to Canada because he tried to switch classes or something, so there wasn't anything there. But the third promo, oh boy, there's a lot to talk about with the third promo, and I'm so excited to talk about it because I haven't shut up about this promo ever since it came out. So when I found out about the third promo, I didn't think this was actually real. I was really, I was screaming. I was so excited about this because in the third promo, they had shown a clip that is a musical number. It is a musical number starting off the special where Lincoln is singing about going to middle school. And first off, I want to say that this is a historic moment in the Loud House because, one, this is Lincoln singing, okay? He's never sang in the show before. Now, you're probably going to say, well, Really Loud Music. No, because one, in Really Loud Music, it was a duet with Clyde, and you could barely hear him. And two, that wasn't his voice actor at the time. Who was voicing him at the time? Tex was voicing him at the time in season 3, I believe. Or was it Colin Dean? I think Colin Dean's last episode was Really Loud Music, if I remember. I forget which one it was. Maybe it was Colin Dean. He was voicing Lincoln for that episode, but they actually got a voice double for Lincoln in that episode, so it actually wasn't Colin Dean singing as him anyway. And yes, Tex did sing as Lincoln in Right and Wrong, but it was only for one line. This is Astor Bishop, now the current voice of Lincoln Loud. He's actually performing the song as himself because Astor is a trained singer. If you ever go on Astor's Instagram, which you should, and you really should see his Instagram, it's really cool. He does a lot of cool social media stuff, challenges, and posts pictures and stuff. He actually has shown himself, practicing singing on his Instagram. So he is actually trained to be a singer. So I guess when they found out that Lincoln's voice actor, they found out Astor was actually a trained singer, they're like, well, okay, we could actually get Lincoln to sing on the show. So yes, it is Astor singing on the show, and it's amazing. I cried the moment I saw this clip with all of them. I mean, all of his friends get a little line or two, but it's mostly just Lincoln singing in the promo, and it is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, especially because there's a part where Lincoln's walking up the stairs and he holds that long high note. He has his mouth open. It's amazing. The animation in this is gorgeous. There's a scene where Lincoln's grabbing all his friends by the hand and pulling them around the school with the lockers. It's like a circular, it's kind of I don't know how to describe it, a curve kind of thing. It's kind of they kind of do a tweening thing. I've studied animation, so I should know what they're doing there. I think it's a tweening effect they did, but it's really cool. It's a shot we've never seen in the show before. So they've really amped up the quality of animation for season 5, and that's what they should be doing because, again, this whole season is brand new. It's, developing the characters from what we know from, the earlier seasons. Now they're all aged up and they're all going to different places in the middle school. So to know that they're kind of, advancing on the animation for the season or even just a special in general is really exciting. This entire promo was just so amazing. I could gush about it all day, but I have so much to talk about, later on, so I won't gush about it too much. But I was just so happy that they decided to put a musical number in this special, because again, it's a 1 hour special, so you have to go all out with this. And the fact that they actually did a whole musical number in the beginning, kind of establishing what's going to happen, and I really like that it's Lincoln being the optimistic one, because Lincoln is the optimistic one. So I'm really surprised, but not surprised, that he's the one that's most excited to go in middle middle school. But, obviously this is probably just going to be the establishing shot where Lincoln's like, oh, I'm so excited about middle school, but then he learns that, middle school isn't as exciting as he would thought it would be. But I'm glad that he's the optimistic one and he's trying to reassure his friends that everything's going to be okay. I mean, come on, once someone sings, it's like, yeah, you gotta listen to them. But I'm hoping that this is going to be like a full-on song and not just like in this part where Lincoln and his friends are going into the school. Maybe we'll see like Lori sing a part, or maybe Lindsay and Rita will sing a part about Lily, because we know some about the 3 parts of the episode with the 3 stories that are connecting in this episode. But as of right now, we've only seen like Lincoln and his friends in middle school, so we don't know what's happening with Lori and Lily. So again, I will put a link in the description to both promos that came out for the 3rd one and the 4th one, so please check them out, especially the 3rd one where it's the I think it's called the We Got This promo. Some of them just say promo 3, but the song is called We Got This, and please check it out. It's amazing. I can't not praise it enough. I've watched it maybe 100 times. I can't get enough of it, and I know that once I see it again, when the premiere of the episode comes out, I'm gonna be crying still. So again, go check out that promo. So, by the way, I forgot to mention when I was talking about the promos, is that, yes, this week we are getting the school special, but when is it premiering, actually? We need to know that. The school special is premiering this Friday the 11th at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, we all thought that this special was going to air on Labor Day, because usually when there's like a big special or a big episode coming out for the Loud House of the Casagrandes, they usually would premiere it on like a holiday, and Labor Day is a holiday. But I don't know why they decided not to premiere on Labor Day. That's kind of not normal for them to do that, but I don't know, maybe they just assumed that people need a day off from watching TV, I guess. So yes, they are premiering the school special on Friday the 11th at 7 p.m. Don't miss it, because it is the big 1-hour special. But besides that, we actually had some other news about scheduling. Is that, don't forget, every Friday now, the Loud House and the Casagrandes are moving to its new time slot on Friday nights at 7 p.m. as well. Both the Loud House and the Casagrandes are premiering on Fridays now. I mean, I guess this is okay. I mean, I'm sure it's fine, I was wondering when or how they're going to do the scheduling for both shows, but they are keeping them together, which I think is which is good, because the last time we had a schedule for this, they had episodes on Saturdays, I think. What was it? Either it was 11 a.m. or 1 p.m. or something. The last time they had the Loud House and the Casagrandes paired up, it was Saturdays, because I watched them when I was in school. But now they're premiering on Fridays at night, which I think is okay, because I guess they figure, well, some kids are going to be in school, but they're not going every single day. They're only going 2 times a week because of the pandemic. I'm only going to school 2 times a week, but I only have online class, which is good because I'm only taking it Tuesdays and Thursdays. So they figure, well, nobody's really going to have class on Friday, I assume. I don't know if anybody's really having class on Friday, but now that this whole, situation has messed up our way of society, they're like, well, kids are going to be off on Fridays, so they'll have nothing to do on Fridays. They'll do their homework in the morning or afternoon, and hey, they'll have new Loud House and Casagrandes at night. I think that's a good idea. I'm a little worried about ratings, but I don't think ratings really matter, I don't think they matter much, but if they try this out and it's not good, maybe they'll switch to Saturday mornings again like they did the last time, because they've tried this before. They've done the Friday night premieres before, back in 2017, and they really didn't work out as much. I remember watching Legends on a Friday, or the last the couple of early season 3 episodes on Fridays, but they want to try this time slot out. I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be good, as long as it's not 8:30 like the Casagrandes were that one time. It was just random. But yes, so we're gonna have new episodes of the Loud House and the Casagrandes premiering all on Fridays. So next time we're gonna have new episodes of the Loud House and the Casagrandes is gonna be September 18th and September 26th, I believe. Yes, so we're going to talk about those new episodes that were just announced for the Loud House and the Casagrandes right now. Before we talk about the new episodes that were announced, let's talk about the schooled updated description, which reads, Lincoln tries to swap middle school classes after being separated from the gang, but ends up being transferred to Canada. Lori doesn't fit in with any of her college dorm floors, and mom and dad rush to potty train Lily for preschool. Now, before I talk about the Lincoln one, I want to say, I was right about Lori. I knew that Lori was going to feel like she was going to fit into college. But after hearing a description for a new episode after this, Lori's going to stay, obviously. It's going to be her Rocket Men. You know, we had Rocket Men where Lincoln and Clyde felt like they weren't going to fit in at space camp or didn't like it. Then eventually mom and dad told them to stay and maybe you'll like it. Same thing happened here. It's like Lori will video chat with her parents, say she hates college, she wants to leave, but then they'll be like, but this is your dream. You've worked so hard for this. You should stay. Try it out. Then maybe something will happen where she actually finds a new roommate and she likes it there and fits in and stuff. Because that's typical for any college experience. You know, once you move off to college and you start a new school, you feel like you don't fit in. I talked about this story a while back, but yes, my first year of university, when I went to the one that was 6 hours away from home, I felt isolated, I felt alone, scared, I felt like I couldn't do it, but then I eventually picked myself up and continued doing that until I moved to the school I'm in right now, which I felt more safe and comfortable because it wasn't 6 hours away, but I felt like I was in a better place at that time. So Lori, you know, she's only 3 hours away from home, and of course she'll come on the weekends, so it's not like a big deal with that. So she'll find her footing. And then with mom and dad potty train Lily, that's going to be interesting to see. I am worried about how much time they'll spend with Lori and Lily's stories, because mainly about probably 70% of the school special is going to be about Lincoln in middle school, because that's all the advertising we've seen is just Lincoln in middle school. We've seen glimpses of Lori going off to college and Lily getting ready for preschool, sorry. But Lincoln's the main focus, so that'll be about like 70-80% of the episode. So I don't know how they're going to balance all three stories. Hopefully, you know, they'll give enough time to each story, you know, and I'm like, they should have just gave Lori her own episode going off to college. I don't know why they decided to put all three stories in one special, but it is 1 hour, so we'll see how they balance it out. Hopefully it's good. And then Lincoln trying to swap middle school classes after being separated from the gang. Lincoln, honey, you just learned this lesson like a couple of episodes ago in season 4. Friends in dry places. You learned that you don't have to mess everything up so you can be with your friends. You know, you learned that your friends want to do other things. Like, you know, like Lincoln has the Ronnie Ann issue with the feeling isolated and alone and the abandonment issues. And I don't know why they're giving Lincoln these issues. Like, I've always felt like they've had the same connection. Ronnie Ann I can understand because she, you know, she has divorced parents, and she was basically left alone a lot because Bobby worked and stuff, and Maria worked too, so she really didn't have many friends back in Royal Woods. So I could understand with her having those abandonment issues, because even though she has friends now, she still has kind of, I guess, I wouldn't say trauma, but just like worry that the same thing might happen again. Lincoln's never really had that problem with growing up with a big family. You know, I guess it would be like, well, he's the middle child and maybe he feels like he's, you know, alone in that, or just like separated from his family and stuff, but we're not in season 1 anymore, so it's not really like that. So I'm wondering why he still feels so clingy to his friends, even though it's like, I get it, I've had that same feeling, but he's already learned this lesson, and I hope that maybe in this episode, it will teach him to kind of grow up. Now, I know that that's kind of a negative thing to say. I know people will say, well, that's not a healthy way of going about it. But again, he's already learned this lesson in Friends in Dry Places, that it's okay for him to hang out with his friends, but his friends should be able to do their own thing, you know? Like, they should be able to go out about doing their own classes and let them do their own thing. But Lincoln's like, no, I gotta be in all the classes with my friends and stuff. It's like, maybe there's something that you want to do, Lincoln, that's separate from what your friends want to do. Maybe you need to learn that. Maybe he needs to, you know, hopefully with him aging up, it'll help him grow up and say, you know, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I should just try to, handle middle school on my own. But of course, it's the Loud House, so I don't think that's going to happen. I think eventually he'll find his way into, the classes with his friends. But I want him to kind of grow up in that way, learn the lesson that he's supposed to learn, that he doesn't have to rely on his friends all the time. But with middle school, there's going to be issues with bullies and all this stuff and changes and things like that. So, I don't know. I just feel like he's already learned this lesson. He doesn't need to learn it again. Like, I'm just kind of like, they're trying to give Lincoln the Ronnie Ann abandonment issues situation, but again, with Ronnie Ann, it's understandable because, she has a big family now, but she still has, like her past is still affected with her because of her father leaving for a while, and, that's why she maybe has issues with losing her friends and stuff, whereas Lincoln, I never really thought he would have that, so it's like, we've had this already happen, we don't need it again, so hopefully maybe in this episode Lincoln will learn to kind of just grow up and just learn that maybe he should just let his friends do their own thing, and we'll see each other at lunch or something, Maybe he'll find a way to just see them at lunch and be like, hey, how was class? And, maybe Lincoln can actually make some new friends and try to move on and stuff. You never know. They'll still be friends. They'll still hang out after school and stuff. It's like, come on, Lincoln, you'll see each other after school. There's nothing's gonna happen to your friendship. Again, the same lesson you learn friends in dry places. I'm just saying, I'm sorry. I didn't mean, I know I already said I wouldn't dwell on stuff. I wouldn't, go overboard with stuff, but you know how I am. So, I'm just saying. But I'm still excited for the special. Hopefully that they'll be able to balance things out and, and develop stuff with the characters and things like that. So again, for the Loud House, after the school special, we have new episodes announced for the Loud House Season 5, and they are all very, very exciting episodes. I'm very excited to talk about these. And I was going to announce the special guests I'm going to be having for these episodes in the future, and I was really... I should have saved the one guest for this week for next week, because next week it's going to be an episode based on a character that this guest really loves. So, but, what can you do? That just happens with the event schedule for my guests. So, we're going to talk about the first 2 episodes announced for Season 5, which are The Boss Maybe and Family Bonding. The Boss Maybe. Lenny struggles as the oldest in the house to follow in Lori's footsteps as the family's babysitter. So we were all right. Lenny's getting her own No Guts, No Glory. That is very exciting. We all wanted an episode about Lenny taking over the Loud family and watching the siblings like Lori did when she was the oldest in the house. We are getting that episode. That is very, very exciting. I didn't think we were going... I wanted a, No Guts, No Glory for Lenny, but we're getting that episode. It's very, very exciting to see Lenny struggling to do this, taking on this role of being the oldest in the family and taking care of the siblings while Lori's off to college. And I hope in this episode maybe Lenny, struggles with that, and of course she kind of has a breakdown. She calls Lori, tells her she can't do this. Lori reassures her that, don't go about it the way I did. Go about it the way you would. Handle it the way you would. Don't try to be like me. Or maybe Lenny gets the idea that she has to be exactly like Lori and acts like that, but the siblings don't listen to her, or her methods just don't work. So then she learns, I have to be like myself. I can't just be Lori, I have to go about it the way I would. And it's going to be a very interesting episode for sure. It's definitely going to be great character development for Lenny, because Lenny's had great character development in Season 4 anyway. So this is the next step for her, because again, she's going to be taking over the family. For Lori, once she's, gone, she's not going to be around as much. She'll probably visit, but she won't have the chance to, spend time with her family as much as she would, when she was there. So now Lenny's taking over as the oldest, and she has to be responsible for all the siblings. So it's going to be a very, very interesting episode to develop Lenny as a character. The next episode is Family Bonding. Lincoln and Clyde investigate the Loud's suspicious new neighbors. Ah, yes, the traditional Clinkin episode. I thought that maybe they would stop these, but they just have to happen. You can't do anything about it. The Clinkin episodes always have to happen every season. But I am interested in this one because it's talking about suspicious new neighbors, and I'm wondering who they are, what they're like, and why Lincoln and Clyde think they're suspicious. And I wonder if, people have been talking about the Yates, which were introduced in Season 2. We haven't seen them since, so they probably aren't around anymore. But with these new neighbors, maybe they'll be like, kind of like the Casagrandes neighbors in the apartment building, will they become like permanent side characters in season 5 and put new dynamics in for the families and stuff, which would be kind of interesting. But yes, it is the clicked episode that we have to get every season or so, Hopefully this is just the only one we get, or maybe we get one sprinkled here and there, but let's not overdo it like season 4, like season 4 we had all those quickened episodes at the beginning and then we were done. We had that one at the end of kind of in the like end-ish of season 4, tough cookies, but maybe we'll just have a few here, not too many, because we've been overdosed with Clinkin, again, I love Clinkin, but let's not over-satirize them as much for this season. But again, you gotta have that typical quickened episode every season, So yeah, it sounds promising, that's for sure. And then finally, on September 25th, I'm sorry, I said September 26th. Pardon me. So September 25th, we have two more brand new episodes of The Loud House Season 5, Strife of the Party and Kernel of Truth. Strife of the Party is when Lola learns that Lana is planning their joint birthday, she does everything to stop it. We're getting a twins episode again! Wow! That's pretty exciting. And of course, it's going to be a birthday episode. The man who shall not be named mentioned that he would never have a birthday episode in the show. But now we're getting one! Of course, because the kids are aging up. So why not have a birthday episode? And about the twins? Sure, why not? I liked Sister Act. I thought it was pretty decent. Not amazing, but pretty decent, So with this one, it sounds very promising. But I'm wondering why Lola is trying to stop Lana from planning their party? Maybe because when Lana plans parties, they don't go the way they want it to, and maybe Lana gets all up in what she likes versus what Lola likes, because, Lana's very dirty and Lola's very clean and likes pretty pink stuff and all that, so maybe when she hears that Lana's the one that's going to plan their birthday party, she's like, oh, no, don't do anything drastic, don't do anything crazy. I'm wondering if, maybe they swap. Maybe 1 year Lola plans it, 1 year Lana plans it, or something, or maybe Lola's like, oh, well, I'll do it for you, sister, I'll do it, maybe it was maybe it was Lana's year to plan it, and Lola, made up an excuse so she could plan it instead, or something like that, so maybe that's why she wants to stop Lana from doing it, just because Lana is, not good at planning parties, or just, does a lot of stuff that Lola doesn't like, so it's gonna be really interesting. I'm very excited that we're getting a twins episode this early in season 5. That's pretty cool, because we have a Lenny episode, and now we have a Lola and Lana episode early. That's pretty interesting. I didn't think that was gonna happen. When I first heard these titles, I was like, what does Strife of the Party mean, so that's pretty cool. And then the next one after that is Kernel of Truth. Lincoln and the middle school action news team solved the mystery of the missing popcorn. Now, this is very interesting, of course, because Lincoln is joining the action news team, which is pretty in character for him, because he loves Ace Savvy and he loves solving mysteries. So this could be the opportunity I was hoping for in school, where Lincoln learns to kind of, branch out from his friend group and expand on his interests. Because, Lincoln's kind of been, getting into other stuff throughout the show. Recently he got into cowboys for some reason. He got into magic at one point. I don't know if he still likes magic now. But, he got into cowboys. But now he's going to be joining a action news team. And I'm wondering if, maybe he won't have his group of friends there. Maybe he'll be making some new friends or people on the team where he joins it. It's going to be quite an interesting episode, because, again, he loves solving mysteries. He loves Ace Savvy. This is right up his alley, because, maybe he has to join a club or something, and he sees there's going to be a news team for the middle school, and it's like, oh, that sounds so exciting. I love solving mysteries. I have experience with Ace Savvy. I've read all the comics. I know how to solve mysteries. I've done this with Clyde before. I can be a newsman. That would be that's very, very interesting for him. I love seeing, Lincoln character development. So it's nice that we're getting a Lincoln focus episode this season besides school, to see him take on another, a new club, a new place that he could join, where he can meet new people, experience new stuff, and put his skills of Ace Savvy to something where it could potentially give him the opportunity to stay on the action news team and become a newsman for the school. that is going to be very interesting for sure. I'd love to see that. And it says the mystery of the missing popcorn. So maybe we'll get to see more of the middle school, like what it's like when he's going around trying to solve the mystery, and we'll see new places and new things. So I'm really, really excited. Of course, it's a Lincoln episode. My boy's getting 2 episodes back to back. Well, I mean, there's also Clinton, but I mean, like, the one focus on him, we're getting, like, back to back. So I'm very, very excited to see that they're actually giving Lincoln more episodes this season. You know, like, again, Clinton, it's both Lincoln and Clyde, so it doesn't count. So Lincoln's got 2 episodes up his sleeve for focus. That's perfect. I love it. Thank you, Season 5. So yeah, that was a lot of news for TLH Season 5. It all came crashing down in a week, so there was a lot to talk about there. So let's jump over to the Casagrandes, and we have updated descriptions for the Casagrande episodes that were announced a couple weeks ago. So let's talk about these updated descriptions. Mexican Makeover has, when Mama Lupe comes to visit, Abuela tries to get her family at the top of their cultural game. So I figured that was going to happen where, you know, a relative was coming to visit, and they were trying to, get into more of their culture with the family. So I guess it's going to be Abuela's mother, because it says Abuela tries to get her family to the top of their cultural game. So it has to be a relative on the Rosa's side for sure. Then Uptown Funk, Adelaide and Carl have an adventure on Mr. Chang's route, but they must work together to save the day. So, I mean, not much updated, but they are going to try to save the day. What are they going to get themselves into? I don't know. But yes, that is the Carl and Adelaide episode, which we're all excited for, because, of course, that pairing is really great, and I'm really excited to see what their dynamic is going to be in this episode, and if there's going to be any potential shipping fuel for that. Now let's move on to the last 2 episodes then, which are Boo Boo Business and Blunder Party. Boo Boo Business. After a disagreement with Abuelo, Bobby goes to work for Mr. Hong to try out his new business ideas. So we have a new character being introduced, Mr. Hong. We've never heard this character before, so we'll probably find out who this is and why Bobby wants to go there to try out his new business ideas with him. After a disagreement, that's going to be kind of interesting to see Bobby kind of argue with Abuela about something. That's going to be interesting for sure. And then Blunder Party, of course, Ronnie and Sid are pumped for their slumber party, but Carl and Adelaide might ruin the day. We get Carl and Adelaide back to back? Oh my gosh! They must really like this pairing. They want them in 2 episodes, like focused in 2 episodes. Now, there was a promo that came out for Nickelodeon that only showed tiny new clips from the Loud House and the Casagrandes, and they showed one from the Casagrandes where Carl was kind of like, I guess, either was like cutting off like Abuelo's mustache, and then him and Adelaide high-fived. So something happened there. I'm not sure which episode that's from. But they are going to try to ruin Ronnie and Sid's slumber party. That's really interesting. I keep saying that. I keep saying that's going to be really interesting. But all these episodes seem interesting. I don't know what else to say. I know I've been repeating myself, but that's going to be very interesting. But, yeah, I don't know why Carl and Natalie are trying to ruin their slumber party. I don't know. Like, why would they do that? Unless they're just, like, hanging out and stuff, and Ronnie and Sid just kind of get distracted by them. But I can't believe we're getting Carl and Adelaide in 2 episodes back to back. Again, that's gonna make for a lot of shipping potential. That's for sure. Because again, you get 2 ships in the same episode. Sidani and Carl and Adelaide in the same episode. That's crazy, you know? Like, I'm just wondering what Carl and Adelaide could do. Like, maybe they try to, like, maybe they want to, join the slumber party, and Sid and Adelaide, Sid, like, Carl and Adelaide want to join the slumber party, but Sid and Ronnie and don't want them to join. They're being annoying. Maybe Carl tries to read Ronnie and's diary in front of them or something. Please, like, if he does that, get to the Lincoln page. He's like, oh, I've read the Yuquan page. Now let's read about Lincoln. And Ronnie just like, no! Like, she just grabs the diary. Like, no, don't read that part. And then Sid's like, you never told me you wrote about him. And it's like, she covers her mouth. It's like, we'll talk about this later. Like, maybe Sid knows about the diary. It's just like, oh, I've heard you write about Yuquan, but never about you know who. It's like, yeah, that probably wouldn't happen. But I can dream, can't I? Yeah, but I don't know what's gonna happen with that. That just seems very interesting, because I thought it was just gonna be a rehash of Overnight Success from the Loud House, but seeing that Carl and Adelaide are just gonna ruin Ronnie and Sid's slumber party, that's a nice dynamic there. That's a new change up for that, so we'll see what happens from there. And those episodes are premiering the same day as the new Loud House episodes after schools. So, with the, what was it? It was like the Lenny episode and the Quicken episode are going to be paired up with Mexican Makeover and Uptown Funk. And then Boo Boo Business and Blunder Party are going to be paired up with the Lowell and Lana episode and the Lincoln episode. So we're getting Casagrandes and Loud House back to back versus Loud House and Casagrandes. So we're getting them back to back, which again is very exciting to get both shows at the exact same time. Because we've had like random like slices of like bombs and whatever's been going on with both shows. They'll both premiere at the exact same time, or they'll have separate bombs. So we don't know what's going on with that. But yes, with the Casagrandes, we now only have 3 more segments to go with season 1. We have 3 more episodes, 2 episodes in each episode, so 3 of them, which is because Wonder Party and Boo Boo Business are episode 18 of the show. So we need 19, 20, and 21 to complete season 1. So I guess once these episodes air, I guess in October we'll get the last episodes of season 1 of Casagrandes, and then we'll get season 2. Because apparently, I was going to say this for later, but apparently the Casagrandes season 2 is going to air October 24th in Canada. How did Canada get an air date already for season 2, and we don't have one yet? You know, that's kind of unfair. It's like, oh, we're gonna premiere October 24th, season 2. It's like, but the season 1 isn't even done yet. I mean, we have 3 more episodes to go. We're not even done yet. So I'm hoping once, you know, these episodes air, Casagrandes is like, we got 3 episodes. Boom, done. We put them in a bomb or something. We're done. We can go home. You know, we're cool. I mean, we don't know if the last episodes are going to be just standalone 2 episodes in each segment, or there's going to be a special. We don't know that yet. There could be 2 episodes or just regular ones, and then they could have like the last episode be a final special. We don't know yet. We're not that far ahead yet. We won't know that until maybe a couple weeks after the new episodes premiere. So it might be a couple of weeks, maybe even a month till we know about those episodes. But yes, all of these episodes for the Loud House and the Casagrandes sound super exciting, and I'm really looking forward to all of these. So don't forget the school special, the Loud House season 5 premiere, is this week, Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every new episode of The Loud House and The Casagrandes are going to be on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Alright, so that was a lot of news for the new episodes. Those all just piled into one thing. I had to talk about all of them for this week, of course. You know, everybody's gonna be like, this is not a mini-sode, you know? But it's like, there's so many episodes to talk about that came out. Alright, so let's jump over to some other tiny news that came out. Let's talk about the comics. So we have a updated description for the next comic coming out after the winter special, which is Who's the Loudest. We actually got some sneak peeks of Who's the Loudest from Paper Cuts. They posted a couple of screenshots here. We have one with Lisa. We have one with the pets, the Loud Pets. We have one with Lenny, Miguel, and Fiona. We have one with Carlota. We have one with Luna and Myrtle, Gran, and of course one with Lincoln. And we also have that updated description for Who's the Loudest. And let me go get that. Okay, here it is. From Candy Randy 7D. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. We also with school, because Candy Randy actually posted on his Twitter, that they showed a brand new poster for school with Lincoln and his friends on it. And it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Whoever designed that, great job. It's beautiful. But yes, let's talk about the updated description for Who's the Loudest. Things can get awfully loud in the household of 11 kids. Join 11-year-old Lincoln and his 10 sisters, Lori, Lenny, Lynn, Luna, Luann, Lucy, Lola, Lana, Lisa, and Lily, as they compete to see who is the loudest of them all and most deserving of the family name. Earplugs not included. Plus, head to a rock concert with Luna Loud and Myrtle. Get ready to dare to interrupt Rose as she cooks in her kitchen as Sergio and Lalo suffer a snack attack. See what Cliff and Charles are really made of in one of Lisa's science experiments, or even horrifying, try the food at Flip's convenience store. In quotation marks, that's true. Featuring stories from the worlds of the hit shows The Loud House and the Casagrandes. So it's going to be self-contained stories again, like the winter special is. No combined stories. I don't think there's going to be any combined stories with the crossover. Just, again, standalone stories. I think that's fine. Again, the winter special I've seen some sneak peeks from the winter special. I can't talk about it here because it's top secret. I won't say anything about the winter special, but yes, with the winter special, it is all, self-contained stories, no crossover whatsoever, just separate stories with that. Same thing here. I hope to see more sneak peeks from Who's the Loudest, because I had to tell Jeff on Twitter that the description for Who's the Loudest still had the Halloween comic description in there, and that's in Many Faces of Nickelodeon. So he updated over the weekend, so now we have the updated description, which is good. So that won't come out till, I believe, November, if I remember correctly, because winter specials will come out in October. So this is supposed to be November. This is after the winter special. So hopefully we'll see more sneak peeks and find out more stories about about Who's the Loudest and see what goes from there. That's the last tiny piece of news. Miguel Puga just got promoted to co-executive producer on the Casagrandes. I am so happy for him. Like, he absolutely deserves this, because he's put his heart and soul into the Casagrandes, and really just, of course, he developed Ronnie into who she is now and helped develop the Casagrande family. So know that he's moved up to co-executive producer on the show. That is very exciting. And also the fact that that's also exciting to the show, because that could mean more with the Casagrandes, that now the crew members are moving up to other positions. Now that he's co-executive producer, this is very exciting for the show and also for him. So congratulations to Miguel Puga for moving up to co-executive producer on the Casagrandes. You absolutely deserve it. Then the final piece of news is updates from the Loud House and the Casagrandes YouTube page. So we didn't have much updates from the last time I talked about the YouTube page. We have 6 videos that were updated. So we had messiest moments from the Loud House and the Casagrandes. Then we had Lynn Loud Sr.'s wildest food dishes. Then we had Lincoln Loud goes back to middle school, a clip from Middlemen. Then episode speeds up when someone says skate, a clip from Team Effort from the Casagrandes. Then today we have ranking cutest Loud House moments from the Loud House. Everything that's cute, to just do a little ranking there. So yeah, not much updates with the clips from the Loud House and the Casagrandes on the YouTube page. But yeah, those are all the updates, so make sure you go subscribe to the Loud House and Casagrandes YouTube page. So yes, that is all the news for the Loud House and the Casagrandes. Before I go, I actually did a little thing on Twitter where I asked the fans what are their expectations or predictions for the future episodes of the Loud House and the Casagrandes, and I want to read some of these predictions to you. I have a few of them here, so I don't have to read too much. But let's read some of these. So Skylar M says, I expect school to be a fun episode. Still wondering how the Canada thing happened. I'm happy to see a Loud Kid birthday episode. I wonder if we'll get a canon birthday, or can they keep it abstract like with Rita's. And then number 2, I kind of expect Lenny to figure out that she can't be the oldest of the kids the same way Lori was. It has to do in a Lenny way. I kind of excited to see an episode where Adelaide having a co-lead role, since that really hasn't happened yet. So yeah, I'm really excited again to have a Loud Kid birthday episode. We haven't had that. Again, we had Rita's episode, but they didn't tell us how old she was. So here they're going to tell us that, because again, the characters are aged up. Yeah, I'm still wondering how, Lincoln gets to Canada. Again, how do you switch classes and end up in Canada? That doesn't make any sense to me, And yeah, Lenny, I already talked about how I figure Lenny has to go about, babysitting the kids her way instead of Lori's way. And then yes, Adelaide having a bigger role in the show than just a side character now. She'll have a bigger role. I know she had Croaked, but I feel like that wasn't an episode about her. It had Sidani in it, so mostly focused on them. Whereas here she'll be with Carl, so she'll have a bigger role than just being kind of on the side. And then, Hey, I'm Kyle says, as long as they retain the quality of season 3 and 4, then I see no worries. As for what I expect from season 5, that's honestly hard to tell at this time. I will say, though, that Lori leaving for college should have been its own episode, rather than being paired up with another plot. But if school pulls it off, then I won't complain. Same here. Lori should have had her own episode to say goodbye. I don't know why they paired up with Schooled, but again, if they can pull off all of these 3 plots at the same time, I will, congratulate them. But they've never done anything like this before, so I'm kind of worried how it'll go. Just saying. And then, Omnipresent Nuance says, specifically with season 5, broadly speaking, I hope to see more episodes centered around Lincoln bonding with some of his sisters on a individualized base, particularly the older ones. We didn't really see a whole lot of that in season 4, and it would be nice to see that again. Where's my Lori Lincoln episode? I know that probably won't happen now because Lori's gone off to college, but I'd like another Lori and Lincoln episode. Even if it's one where maybe Lincoln, like, I don't know, like Lenny drops off Lincoln, like maybe they go to Fairway, maybe Lori drives him to the city or something again, like a City Slickers. Can we just have another Lori and Lincoln episode? Like that's what I've been kind of praying for, is like Lori and Lincoln bonding over Ronnie Ann and Bobby. That's the one thing I've wanted since like day one or something. But yeah, I'd like to see maybe, like we had Lincoln and Lenny in How Double Dare You and Snoop's On. So maybe like Lincoln and Luna, Lincoln and Lan, like definitely the older siblings. Like we've had Lincoln and Lynn a lot because of middle school stuff, like with Friends in Dry Places. But yeah, I want a Lori and Lincoln episode again because they're my favorite pairing, of course. So yeah, that's all the replies I got from there for that. So yeah, there's a few expectations for season 5 and going forward with that. So before we go, I actually want to read off my future schedule for the CasaLoud Chats, because now I'm going to start planning out what I want to do, guest appearances or have people on as guests. So I actually have a planned schedule for the next episodes coming out for the Loud House and Casagrandes reviews of the episodes. So I haven't really decided when I'm going to release episodes. I've been thinking of releasing them Mondays only because of the new episodes premiering on Fridays. And I know that Loud Casa Talks and even CasaLoud Chill Out Sessions, they usually update their episodes on Sundays, and I don't want to copy them, I don't want to be copying like that. So I was thinking about moving them to Mondays if I can get a set schedule like that, because I will be home most of the time, so I will have time to upload them instead of going to school or doing other things, unless something happens where I can't upload on a Monday. But I am thinking about moving every new episode to Monday because of the episodes premiering on Fridays. Tell me in the comments, or tell me if Monday is a good time for new episodes to come out. That way there's a set schedule, because I never had a set schedule before, but now that I'm always at home and not really doing anything right now, maybe I could have a set schedule for the show now. That way people can know when I premiere new episodes of the show. So now I have a schedule for future guests coming on to the show. So the first episode after this, which is going to be episode 33 of the show, is going to be the school discussion episode. That is going to be with King Mitch 20, my friend Mitch from Twitter, Discord. He's one of my closest friends in the fandom. I've known him for a very long time in the fandom. So I'm very excited to have Mitch on because he's very knowledgeable when it comes to cartoons and shows and stuff. And he loves the Loud House, of course, and he's a huge Lenny fan and so on and so forth. So he's very he knows a lot about stuff, and he loves to talk about things. So I really want to have him on because, he's never really asked me, but then he's like, why haven't I been on the show? And I'm like, you never asked me to come on the show. So yes, I'm finally going to have him on for school because it's a big special and we'll have a lot to talk about with the special. So yes, that'll be episode 33 of the show, and that'll come out next Monday. And then the September 18th episodes, I'm going to be having a special guest on there. That'll be Gravity Ferb from Twitter. His name is Ryan. He'll be on the show then. He'll be one of my first time guests on the show. I'm very excited to have him on. Same thing with Mitch. He's going to be a first time guest, and I'm really excited to have him on as well because he had asked, and I'm very excited to have a new guest on to the show. And then the September 25th episodes, I'm going to have a returning guest on the show. You know him. He's one of the biggest Sidani fans out there. It's Burster MFG. Or Ronnie and Sid on Twitter, and yes, he's coming back on because he had told me that he needs to come on for the Sidani episode. And it's like, well, yes, of course, I would love to have you on for the Sidani episode because I had him on the last time for Team Effort. So once we got the Sidani episode announced, he was like, you better have me on first for the Sidani episode. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll have you on again. So yes, he will be coming on for the September 25th episodes, which will be Loud House and Casagrandes, but mostly for the Sidani episode. So yes, that's my future schedule for all those guests coming out, which I'm very excited to have some guests on. I do have, I think I have 1 or 2 people still waiting to come on the show again. I also have other people who have been on before asking to come on again. But again, if you've never been on the show, or you have been on the show and want to come on as a guest again, please DM me at CasaLoud Chats and ask me to come on as a guest, and I will schedule you in. As of right now, there's no new episodes announced for October or any future stuff with that, so I don't have a future schedule for now. But once episodes do get announced for the future months, for the future episodes of the Loud House House and the Casagrandes. If anyone wants to come on for a specific episode or just wants to come on and talk about the shows, I will gladly have you on and would love to have you come on to talk about the show. But yes, if you have any questions about the podcast or want to be a guest on the podcast or discuss the podcast with me, you can contact me over at XSunnyClips on Twitter or at the podcast's Twitter, CasaLoud Chats. And we'll see you all next time on CasaLoud Chats.